The next thing I want to cover is the thank you letters and templates, because the letters can go out. There's, of course, there's still an option to print. Many of you are going to see them at the cloud. How can I print my letters? So you have options to print as well. If you want to print and lick the envelope and put it into the and stamp it, and many prefer that. It has your personal touch to it, and a handwritten note. But there's, of course, there's options to send your thank you letters by email, and it goes on your letterhead. It automatically goes out, and you can personalize it as well. So let me go here and backtrack here just a minute and pull up a letterhead. Now, do you see? I hope you still see my screen. A show of hands, if you can see my screen that I'm opening up a different application. Anybody could comment on that? Make sure you can see my screen. Okay. So I'm going to open up just a letterhead with permission of the person who sent it to me. So we have Friendship Circle of Central New Jersey, beautiful letterhead, and you want to get this into your. You want to use this as a background for your letters that go out. So the first thing you need to do is you need to add to the bottom of your letterhead what's called the receipt section. The receipt section means you put in a bottom part where it has the receipt number. It'll have the amount, what the purpose, and things like that, the date. And this is an example of what the receipt can look like. So it has, this is your receipt, keep the tax, no services, no goods and services were accepted. You might want to include your tax ID number in this. And this, in order to do this, you need to have an application on your computer that sets this up. I'm using Adobe Pro, which allows you to do that. And you'll see the key of setting this up is what's called Adobe Forms. So if you go to the form setup, you'll see that there's a way to put in these fields. And the fields are named in a specific way. So there's a field for receipt number, or a field for method, and check number, donation date, and so on. Recently added to the system was the ability to automatically calculate the amount versus the tax deductible amount. That's actually a relatively new feature which was added in the last few weeks. So this receipt actually shows that difference. And you have this example basically. If you don't have Adobe Professional to set this up, we can set it up for you. It's really not difficult to do. All you need is to get your letterhead. It's a PDF file, and you put in these fields and you lay it out the way you want it to work. Once you have this template set up, you then have to upload it into your settings of your CMS Cloud. And to do that, you go to Settings, you go to Transactions, and here you go to Templates, PDF templates. Well, a lot of templates already exist. We're going to create a new one, a new template, and we'll call this one Kinus Test. So we can definitely identify which one it is. Under the Page tab, we're going to select the template. So I'm going to go to my desktop and select this receipt template. We're going to indicate that it has a receipt stub, and that make sure the system checks for the receipt stub, and it will fill in the information accordingly. And let's just do a quick preview to see how it looks. Okay, it's just putting in some sample letter, but the main thing we want to look at is to see that this comes up, receipts coming up. We want to make sure the letter, the margins needs to be moved down a little bit. So you can, the top margin should be, let's say, 2 inches. And then you have the font that you can choose what it should be, what font should be used for the letter. By and large, you should keep all the other settings the way they are, unless you have a need to change them. Automatically show the address on the letter is a nice feature. Let's do another preview to see how it looks with the address, and as it was moved down, choosing a different font. Okay. Now I've seen this come up sometimes where the letter gets, looks like it's a little bit malformed. Maybe use this as a good example of how to fix this. So I'll save the changes here. I'm just going to open up the file again in Adobe. I didn't intend to go to this advanced feature now, but we're going to do this pretty quickly here. So we're going to go to the optimize the PDF. Just see this and say that should fix the issue with the fonts. Okay, so back to the templates. Here's the Kinus one, and let's add the receipt end. So makes a world of a difference. Okay. If you're having that issue, again, if you don't have Adobe Professional to do these types of things to make your PDF template work properly, just reach out to us and we can easily fix and adjust these things for you. The signature can also automatically come up on the letter. So you go to signature, you click show signature, put in a closing, that'll automatically be there. You put in a name, director. Then we need to have a signature. So we're going to go to a little program that creates a free signature. Let's see if we have it here. Free online signature maker. And then just draw a signature. The website here is signwell.com. Okay, that's my signature. I'm going to save it. Save it with a transparent background because that will make sure that if your PDF has a watermark in the back, you don't want to have a white box around the signature. So it's saved here under the downloads. Switch back to here, and we're going to select that file that I just created. So the downloads, and there it is. Now, if I do the preview, you have the signature coming up as well. Now, this letter is too long to fit on this page. So I'm just picking a shorter letter. Hopefully, the preview will be a little bit better. There we go. Okay, so this was an example of how to create your own letterhead, and to use it for your thank you letters. The letterhead is again has your stationery. It has the signature, because the PDF settings is more than just your PDF file. It has settings for the margins. It has an option whether it should automatically include the address. It has settings where the signature automatically gets put in, and it has date settings. It includes the Hebrew date and the English date. So all this goes in automatically. The only thing left here is the actual text of the letter that needs to be set. I'm just adding a closing adjustment to make sure this goes a little further, because this is not part of the letter. The letter basically starts from dear, and it finishes at the end of the body of the letter, joy and prosperity. From with warm personal regards and onwards is coming from the signature settings, the closing, and the signature name, and the signature file. So this was the adjustment that I just added. And let's say that. So now the letter itself, how do we set up the letter? The letter is done under letters. So I'm going to switch back here to letters. And there's a general letter. You can create additional letters by going to add letter. And you can create as many letters as you want to use. All you got to do is put in a letter name, the email information, and then there's two parts to the letter, which I'll show you under general. There's the body of the letter, the email, and the letter of the email usually will say something like, please see attached formal receipt for your tax purposes, because the email goes out with an attachment as well. And then there's the PDF text, which is the text that comes up on the attachment. It could be the same, or it could be different than the HTML of the email body itself. I'm going to indicate to use the Kinus test one. And now we'll just send out a letter. Now letters can be sent out individually as you're entering a donation, or they can be sent out in batches periodically. So we're going to go to one example to send out a letter. And the lucky winner is Fesky Altine. Thank you. I'm not sure if this is the correct email address or not. Just to point out about emails, there's settings for the specific email. There's the no mail emails, which will prevent the email from being included in your weekly emails, for example, or other broadcasts. And then there's the no transactions tag, where you can exclude the email from being sent, from being used for transaction related emails, such as thank you letters or invoices or end of year letters and things like that. And sometimes you want to have an email sent to only one of the two spouses, only to the husband or to the wife, or vice versa, for whatever reason. So you can go into the specific settings of that email and you can indicate no transactions by the one you want to exclude. But in this case, let's leave that as unchecked, and we'll save those changes. So this email is going to be included, because otherwise, if you have an email for both, it'll send the transaction emails to both people. Okay, so this is going to be so Chesky and Khani are going to be getting this email, which I'm about to send. So I'm going to go enter a new donation. This is an example of how to enter a payment individually, and then to send out the thank you letter right away. So we're going to enter a credit card payment. This is going to be it's a Visa, and we're choosing the card that's on file, and we're putting in what this is for. Let's say it's for camp. We want to get them a receipt and which letter to use, the general letter. And the general letter is already predefined. We set it up already. It's linked to this new template that we created. Now you can do save and then click the email button, but there's a quick shortcut here, save and send, which is really nice. You click save and send. Wants a department, so we're going to choose that. Now the department, there are default departments you can set, so you don't have to do it each time, but we'll leave that for another time to show you how to do that. So save and send, and it shows here the results. Usually you only get one prompt. In this case, you're getting a prompt that it was charged successfully, and also that the transaction was entered successfully. And this is the window that comes out, and you could personalize this. Okay, so you can personalize this. So here's the body of the email that comes up, and you can personalize it by saying, say, first day, nice seeing you. Okay, whatever it is, and then whatever you want to write, or you can write a PS. The attachment. Now, if you're going to be printing this, you can generate the PDF and then print it. Otherwise, you just click the send button, and this gets sent to this person based on the settings of this letter. In this case, it's coming from Chaim, from Rabbi Chaim Shulman, and it's being sent to the two email addresses on file. So I'm just click send. You get a message that the letter was sent successfully, and this automatically gets marked as sent. If we would refresh the screen, you would see that it was sent. The status of this transaction is sent. But I want to show where you can actually track the sent emails. So you can go to sent emails, and you can see the status of these emails, which of course bounced because these are both fake email addresses. But if you take a look at the attachment or the email that was sent, so you have here the email that was sent out. Firstly, it was nice seeing you, which is the personalized thing. Then you have the attachment that was sent as well. And this is on this new letterhead that we just uploaded before with the signature, with the formal receipt at the bottom. Okay. It's important over here, if you're using the tax deductible amount feature, it shows the tax deductible amount is 0. And that's because the type of transaction that I used was such that does not have a receipts set up for it. I'll demonstrate what I mean here. If you take a look at the, let's see, nation, it was this over here. It was Camp Ghana Israel here, right? So you have this, if you take a look at this category, camp, and then Ghana Israel, if you go to your settings, transactions, and go to the categories, the camp category is not defaulted for receipt, which means it's not a tax deductible category. And because of that, the tax deductible amount automatically, it shows you the payment amount that was $100, but the tax deductible amount showed you as 0. So it's important to set up your categories correctly, especially if you're going to be using this tax deductible amount feature. You want to make sure to check the correct status of that category, if it's a receivable category or not. So that was how to send out a thank you letter individually. To do batch letters in a very similar way, you go to the batches window and you go to letters. It's on the main menu. So batches, letters. You create a new batch. Usually you want to mark previous batches as sent. Now, mark as sent happens automatically when you email. When you email something, the system emails it out. The system knows whether it was sent successfully or not, and the batch will get marked as sent automatically. But if you printed them, as you can see, this one over here was printed as a PDF. So you need, then you need to check the batch. You want to mark it as sent yourself. So you mark it as sent so that it doesn't get sent again in the next batch. So to create a new batch, we're choosing email, and by default, it's all the letters that have not been sent yet. So you don't have to really go into the filters. You could filter it by date range. You can filter it by category and other things. But usually, the only thing you want to filter it by is if you're doing this properly by marking as sent, that whether it's emailing or if you're printing them, that all previous transactions that need to be marked as sent were already sent. You don't have to go into the additional filters. All you need to do is to click generate batch. You'll see all the emails, all the letters are ready to go out. You could edit any one of them and personalize it. Okay, so you can change or modify the actual email that goes out. You could remove a person from the batch. This delete will not delete the transaction. It'll just remove them from this batch, which is about to be sent. Now, if you did a PDF because you're printing, then you just have that button that says generate PDF. It creates a file for you to print. But because we chose what to generate and we're generating emails, so then we have generate batch, and that's where you have the generate send emails button. And we're going to send emails. I'm sorry for everybody who put in their real email address here. Someone tell you the results that this person doesn't have an email address, so it couldn't send it to them, and you can go to that particular person. Otherwise, if you let's go back to the sent emails, and you can see everybody else who was just sent an email. The most recent ones. The ones we sent individually are here, the 2 bounces. But all the other ones show you the status is being delivered, and it even tracks opens and clicks, so you can see whether the person opened up the email or whether they clicked on any of the links that that you might have included in the email.